Assalamu alaikum. I'm Naomi Saif. I wanted to talk today about how are we raising our daughters. I wanted to talk about this because I have a daughter. I have 4 boys and 1 princess, and I think about the things that I want to teach her, and I see her growing, and she's 10 years old, and I have come to realize, the past few years, past 5 years in particular, how little knowledge I had in being a woman, in womanhood. So when I say womanhood, I mean in cooking and sewing, and now I'm not trying to make it seem like, give the chauvinistic speech that that's all that we know how to do. But why shouldn't we know how to do that? I remember when I was younger, my grandmother, may she rest in peace, she, was trying to teach me how to cook. She's like, I'm gonna show you how to make some arroz con gandules. And I'm like, I don't have to learn how to cook. I'm gonna be rich and I'm gonna hire people to cook for me. Okay, so and she would say, you know what I'm saying, you want to cook for your husband yourself, and you want to cook for your family, and we get caught up in what society tells us. It's crazy. Pop culture and the movies, media, Hollywood, they'll tell us women in particular, go out and get an education, go out and compete against men, be a man, act like a man, fight men, confront men, but they don't tell their women that. Their women are watching Martha Stewart and watching, how, just, so I just want to encourage us to, it's never too late. It's never too late. It's empowering. I'm 35 years old and I bought my first sewing machine. It's still in the box, but I'm going to use it. And I have started to learn how to cook. I've been a mom since I was 18 years old. However, my poor children have had to. We've all have been living out of. We lived out of cans and frozen foods, and it wasn't until about, I would say, 4 years ago, that we transitioned into eating natural foods, organic foods, meat that's only halal, and we eat meat maybe like once a month. My husband, he makes our bread. We have a bread maker, and we juice, and especially for myself and my daughter and my oldest son, who battled with those trying to label us, really my kids more so with ADHD, and me, anxiety. So when I changed my, when we changed our eating habits, I noticed a big difference, in our mind clarity, and so I bring that up to say that I had to learn how to cook. We had to learn how to cook, from scratch. And I teach my sons how to cook. However, I think that in the world that we're in right now, they're trying to create this gray area, where, black, white, things that, men were known for, that men were created for. Men are to protect, men are stronger than us, men are to provide. Men are to build. Yes, we can do those things, but why? And us women, we have our own strengths, just in a different way. We're nurturing, we are emotional. We both come, men and female. We come from different perspectives, and if you get caught up in this society, you're going to, like I did, you're going to miss out on building up and appreciating those strengths and looking at them as weaknesses. I hate that I'm so nice. Oh, I hate that I'm so emotional. Oh, I'm such a crybaby. Those are your strengths. That's, those are gifts from Allah that you just don't know how to use. That's how I felt. And we look at society, women who are out there like I was, raising kids by themselves, changing tires, working 2 and 3 jobs, while the men are, in the house like little girls. They have at the very most a part-time job. And, so we see how the men in society are now treated and groomed and taken care of and babied by their mothers, and they're like the girls of society now, while women are being pushed into these male dominating roles. Go out there and compete and get ugly and get dirty. No, I don't want my daughter to or my sons to go into the world that way. And I wouldn't want for any. I think that we need to preserve womanhood. We need to preserve womanhood. While, like my sons, I tell them it is important that you learn how to cook the basics so that you don't starve. And, you can teach your wife how to cook. It's not necessarily trying to sound sexist, but I try to encourage my boys and, in my way and with my husband's help, teach them, how to be men, how to change a tire, how to clean outside and answer the door and grab bags and, be men, and my daughter, my daughter goes to middle school, and, I noticed it this year how she's just slowly but surely she's, acquired this aggressive nature, when it comes to boys. I'm sure it has to do with having 4 brothers and stuff like that. And I want to make sure that I don't allow for her to harden. Do you know what I mean? I don't want her to harden. I want her to blossom like a beautiful flower, and I want her to, flourish, in womanhood. Not that she has to be prissy or a princess, and, and I say all this to say, sisters, let's exercise our muscles when it comes to being women. Don't forget to take care of you. Don't forget to, if you're not a girly girl, I'm not a girly girl. I'm 35 years old, and I'm just now learning how to put makeup on, and I'm just now learning how to put little outfits together. And, alhamdulillah, it's never too late, but I look back and when I was younger, and, I didn't know who I was. And so many of our females are out there in the same way, getting up and going to work and, living like men. And because it's so unnatural, we're wondering why it's not working out for us, for our families and for our situations. And, so I encourage anyone who's listening, if you have a daughter, even if you have a son, teach them their roles, encourage them. It's like if you have a rabbit. Rabbits are supposed to hop, fish are supposed to swim. We are teaching the rabbits to swim and the fish to hop, and it's not working out. It's not working out. And like they say, all men want to be respected and women want to be loved. So how can a woman even know what love is if she hasn't had a chance to get to know herself and come in touch with all the strengths and all the things that the world say are weaknesses, and how to protect herself if she is sensitive, if she is emotional, if she is naive and gullible. I just don't want to see no more little girls being lost. I'm tired of seeing little girls, out there like little pit bulls trying to fight boys and rough. And it's heartbreaking because, those young girls, oftentimes they're not. I was one of them, grow up to be, women who get in abusive relationships, as I did, who get beat up by men. You challenge a man, you think you're a man, and, and then you start thinking that that's love, that whole dysfunctional world. So just encourage, sisters, if you don't have any kids, if you have a niece, if you have a nephew, take, our boys need it too. Our boys need to go out and learn how to play basketball. Take the Xbox, put it in the closet, take the cell phones, take the battery out. I do it. My kids don't even have cell phones anymore. We just really need to invest into our children, into the roles, we need to get them ready for their future. We need to, we're always screaming at these men, be men, be men. Well, let's show them, and women, we can't show boys. Women cannot show men how to be men. We can only teach them what a woman is going to expect out of them. However, call on the men in the community, like when I was a single mom, I would take my boys to church and, expose them to, pastors and men. Look, they're married. Look, they don't have a bunch of girlfriends. Look, they don't live with women that they're not married to, so, and push them even further. I wish I would have, especially my oldest, put him into sports, forced him into sports. And just so that they know how to even, deal with each other, So, just a reminder to you and also to myself, to preserve our roles, preserve our roles as women and as men, and to pass it on to our children, Let's not get caught up in this microwave, artificial, processed world that is just going to strip away our identity, and then we're going to get lost in the shuffle. And the only ones that are going to pay for it is us, the value of our life, While it takes more time to cook from scratch, it's fun. My kids, they join in, sometimes they have a day where they make dinner, so turn off the TV, bust out a sewing machine or a cookbook, and let's teach our children to be productive. Let's teach them to make things. Let's give them real survival skills. All right. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for listening.